Call the meeting of the Middletown Police Commission to order. We have Commissioners Mills, Vignola, and myself present. Absent is Commissioner Rodriguez and Commissioner Sullivan. So, Chief, take it away.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. This evening, in addition to our normal agenda, I request at the end of our normal business to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters. Starting off, communications. There was a press release that came out by the District Attorney's Office earlier this week in regards to Detective Slanovic. It was published in local media. Just shows that he did plead guilty to a violation, and it went over some of the conditions of that, and that's pending an incident that occurred back in May. This past week, I spent from Sunday till yesterday in Albany at the Chiefs Conference, the New York State Chiefs of Police Conference. And during that time, during the ceremonial events and banquet on Monday evening, they honored Police Officer Evan Barone as the New York State Chiefs of Police Medal with the Medal of Honor for his heroic efforts and actions on August 29, 2020. So Evan and his family came up and joined us, and it was a very nice ceremony to honor him. And you know, he was surrounded by all law enforcement from throughout the state, so it was a very nice event. Moving into new business, the June Police Commission minutes I forwarded to the Commission for your review. Would you like to discuss them at all? The minutes from June?
Good. There's a lot of them.
A lot of them. I tried to type smaller, but it doesn't work. If there's no discussion, if I could have a motion to accept them as written. A motion by Commissioner Mills, second by Commissioner Vignola. All in favor?
Aye.
Appreciate it. Looking at the statistics from June, we saw a little decline, which is nice to see. So for June, the month of June, the department handled 3,007 calls for service, which was 11% decrease in call volume from the previous month, which we had 3,380. We've been averaging right around that 3,000 mark thus far this year per month. Part 1 crimes for the month, we handled 51, which the previous month we had 77, so that was a nice decrease there. Hopefully it continues going in that direction. Out of those 51, 11 of them were classified as violent and 40 as property. Out of those 40 property crimes, 35 of them were larceny related. Larcenies have still continued to drive our numbers. Looking at Part 2 crimes for the month of June, the department investigated 81 Part 2 crimes in comparison to 86 in the month of May, so a slight decrease there as well. We also had a slight decrease in the number of arrests for the month of June. The department made 212 arrests in the month of June in comparison to 222 in the month of May. That's also kind of in correlation with the decrease in call volume as well. Traffic summons for the month of June, the department issued 675 traffic tickets, which was quite a bit of an increase from the previous month of 436. It actually equates out to 39% increase. Again, traffic has been one of our driving concerns this summer, so we're trying to address that to the best that we can. And parking tickets for the month the department issued 349, which was a decrease in comparison to May, which was 409. Out of all those incidents and arrests, 7 of those arrests ended up in use of force incidents, which equates to 3.3% of total arrests for the month. With the statistics also, we had the 4th of July weekend celebration during the month of, since our last meeting, and from July 1st through July 5th, the department dealt with 81 calls pertaining to fireworks. Out of that, we made 33 arrests. In comparison to the previous year, there's 103 calls and only 13 arrests. So we had 22 less calls, but we made almost 20 more arrests. I personally worked it myself this year again. I think more people argued with us than anything else. That was my big takeaway, how angry people were with us. But anyway, we dealt with them. So in regards to can't talk today, to the statistics, is there anything that the commission would like to discuss in more detail?
Yeah, Chief, just when I'm looking at the map for the larcenies and the car larcenies,
Yep.
It seemed like there were clusters in certain areas.
Yes.
Does it make sense for us to maybe do some door-to-door with our neighborhood officers in those blocks? I think Commonwealth, if I remember, was one of them, where there seemed to be a lot of car larcenies, and try to educate people about keeping their doors locked, or to do more outreach. I know we were doing some public issues.
Right, we created flyers and cards, and we
Right,
did some
right.
social media push. The other thing that we're doing, based on those maps specifically, Mayor, we're using the Intel Center to create those maps and those hotspots, and then we're using our give patrols
Right.
to focus on those hotspots, and part of the give patrols is they have to get out and walk the neighborhoods and areas.
Okay.
So I could give those flyers to the
Yeah,
give
that would be
patrols
helpful.
and
I
make
think
sure
the,
that they get them out there.
So, because it was quite obvious, it really stuck out, like
Mm-hmm.
the clusters.
Just make a note of that so I get it back to them. I'll add that to our list. Any other concerns, thoughts, questions with the statistics?
No.
Looking at our staffing, as we sit here today, the department has 4 police officer vacancies. We have 71 sworn personnel right now, and budgeted for 75. Out of the 71, I have 1 on disability, 1 on admin duty due to a pregnancy, 1 suspended. Since our last meeting, I've had 2 personnel changes. One is Police Officer Nick Iannuzzi has resigned from the police department effective July 9th. He resigned to take a job with the Village of Chester Police Department. And I was just advised by Police Officer Savino Citronini that effective July 30th, he's going to be resigning from the police department to take a job with the Town of Tuxedo Police Department. So that would give us 1 additional vacancy. So we'd have 5 vacancies as of the end of the month. To help with that situation, we're still working on backgrounds. I have 3 active backgrounds that look like 3 decent candidates thus far. The backgrounds are not completed. Out of those 3 candidates that I'm looking at, 1 is certified. The other 2 would have to attend the police academy. I mentioned last meeting that we coordinated with civil service to host another agility test this September to get into our next group of candidates. And, we just keep pushing forward with doing backgrounds and trying to find good candidates. We are fortunate that the police academy is going to run 2 academy sessions at the same time. One started this past Monday, and the next one is going to start August 28th. So if the commission's open to it, I could potentially have candidates to present to the commission in August. However, if that is something the commission is open for, I'd ask that we move the commission meeting to earlier in August to allow us, after the interview process, we have to do medicals and psychological evaluations, and then bring them on to the department before they go to the academy. The academy would be the 28th. So
What date are you thinking about, Chief?
I'm looking at August 2nd.
August
It's a
2nd.
Wednesday,
I'm going to be away on August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
okay?
But I'm basically free the rest of the month.
The rest of the month,
I
okay.
can do August 1st.
That's the night out
Oh, that's
against
crime
crime.
night, yeah.
We could do it, I mean,
I could do the 7th,
might take us
8th,
a little long. The 7th?
7th, 8th, 9th,
The 7th works for me.
7th?
It's a Monday. I will follow up with an email to everyone to make sure that that is okay, but we'll look at the 7th.
4:30?
4:30, yes. And that would definitely give me time to get, if they're selected candidates, to get them to those other evaluations in a timely fashion. I appreciate that, thank you.
How many interviews do you think you'll do?
I could do up to 3, but really 2 would be pertinent because the 3rd person is already certified, so I'm not in any type of time restraint with that
We'll need to do
individual.
probably 2 hours then? It's more-
Yeah, about 2 hours.
Okay.
We'd be just doing interviews on that, the 7th?
Yeah, it would be our monthly meeting, so I'll just go over the basic stuff and then, unless you want to do 2. If you want to do just an interviews, that's up to you.
Well, then the meeting for August the 17th would be canceled.
That would be up to the commission. If we want to do the 7th in lieu of the 17th,
I don't want to do 2 in 10 days.
Yeah, I just want to do it, we're going to do it on the 7th, and we'll do it on the 7th.
On the 7th, not the 17th.
Not the 17th. But I'm just saying.
You're
that-
welcome to come and sit around though, Jim, if you like.
We won't tell your wife where you are.
We won't let Seal know that you're really out in the Elks Club.
Believe me, she knows where I'm at all the time. Okay, 7th is good then.
7th, okay, thank you. So our units that we have going still, our crime suppression unit and our traffic unit. So basically, we're utilizing them to focus on evidence-based and hotspot policing, based on like stuff like the mayor had mentioned about those clusters. I think we're having good success so far. So right now in the crime suppression team, I have Officer Ortiz and Rupert, which have been in there a little over a month now. They've made 45 arrests, issued 23 traffic tickets, and again, they're focused on our hotspots, evidence-based, like crime-driven, complaint-driven, and that's where we kind of direct them. Our traffic unit is being Officer Rivera is in our traffic unit right now, doing an outstanding job. He went in that unit on July 19th, and from July 19th to, June 19th to July 14th, he issued 447 traffic summons. And that's really based on community complaints is where we're focusing him. And he's doing a great job. He's very professional in doing his job. We're not getting complaints about his performance. He's doing a real good job for us. Our most recent hires, which is Police Officer Joseph Brownstein and Kristen Lane, they began the Police Academy this past Monday, the 17th. As of this morning, I had a meeting at the academy. All is good. They're falling in line very nicely. I'm sure they'll have some stories at some point. Police Officer Scott Mullen, he was our transfer from New York City. He doesn't have to go to the academy, so he jumped right into field training effective July 5th. And we are getting close on our dispatcher backgrounds, where we got 4 of them in progress. Currently, I have 2 vacant dispatcher spots, full-time spots, soon to be 3, because basically what I plan on doing is one of my dispatchers wants to be the animal control, score number 1 on the list. So as soon as I get viable candidates for dispatch, I plan on transferring him to the ACO position and backfilling the dispatcher position. So hopefully here in the near future. And we're almost done with our clerical position background. Summer months, we do a little bit less training. So since our last meeting, we've had the GIVE 10 briefing training, which is the gun involved violence elimination, which is funded by a grant. That's the grant that we received from the governor's office and DCJS in regards to putting additional patrols out and focusing on those hotspots that we have. We've also sent several officers and supervisors to, it's called Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. And this is something, once these people are trained up, this is where we're going to expand our neighborhood enhancement unit. So what they're going to do is spend more time focusing on the areas instead of just the crime itself to see what else we could do. Sometimes it might be lighting, sometimes it might be mediation, it might be working with code or some other service provider to resolve situations so that it's not all criminal in nature. It seems to be very successful with our neighborhood enhancement unit. We just touched the tip of it by getting our people out there and looking at things differently, trying to find the roots of problems, but now we'll have some education to further that program. So we're looking forward to getting that up and running. Hopefully in September, we'll have additional people assigned to it, and we'll have all the training out of the way. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I attended the New York State Chiefs of Police Conference, which was in Albany. Outstanding training. It's all leadership training, executive leadership training, and get to interact with the chiefs from throughout the state and learn from their experiences as well. We just also accepted a grant from Orange County Stop DWI for $6,927. They're trimester grants. We normally get about $4,000 and change. They bumped us up this time based on our efforts, which is nice. And that is to do strategically and I don't know what's going on today. Specifically DWI enforcement. So we schedule them around like weekends, and especially if there's a holiday or we know something's going on, like graduation and whatnot. Some of our community events, July 15th, this past Saturday, was our Cops and Kids Field Day, great turnout. July 17th was the beginning of our first week of our 4 junior police academies. That's our youngest group. They went on a hike today. Seems to be a pretty good group, and it seems like there's an overwhelming response for the program. That's why we added a 4th week this year. August 1st is going to be National Night Out Against Crime. It'll be in Thrall Park. We look forward to that. And then we are actually in the planning process, along with the school and some of our community partners and Parks and Rec Department, Fire Department, to plan the back-to-school community barbecue, which is going to be September 9th in Davidge Park from 1 to 5. Just a couple cases that are noteworthy of mentioning. I did email the commission on these, two of these three, actually. One was a shots fired incident that we had at 147 Prospect Avenue on June 26th. Still an open investigation. We have a little bit of video evidence, but nothing to really solidify who did that. Still very active working that one. Unfortunately, that's been the second incident up there this year, I believe. Then we had an incident on July 12th, 30 East Avenue. It was actually in the rear of that. It was actually just a parking lot area. That's an open investigation as well. In that one, someone was injured. Our victim is not cooperative at this time, not willing to tell us anything. So it makes it much more difficult. We are tracking down witnesses. We have some okay witnesses, but we still have a lot of work to do there. On July 18th, we handled a call of infant that died during the night, a 14-day-old infant. As of this time, it appears to be SIDS. We have nothing that says otherwise. There's no foul play, no evidence thereof, no concerns with the medical examiner, but it is definitely, that's a tough situation, not just for the family. Some of the officers that responded as well had a tough time with that call. In regards to our internal investigations, I have 3 that I just finished up, so I'll be getting them out to you this week, this coming week, and then we're still plugging away at them. So as we get them done, I'll get them out to you. That is pretty much all I have on the agenda, unless the commission has anything they would like to discuss.
No, I'm good.
Good.
We do have some members of the public in the audience. Does anyone from the audience have anything they would like to discuss, bring to our attention? Okay, so being no other information to discuss, I request a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters. I have a motion by Commissioner Vignola, second by Commissioner Mills. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The commission will be moving into executive session at 4:54 p.m. to discuss personnel matters.
Please be advised this ends the public portion of today's meeting. Thank you.
Means you have to leave, Mr. Massey.